For thousands of years, the story of Lot's wife has been told as a warning. It's one of those powerful moments from the Bible that sticks in people's minds. Passed down through generations, read aloud in churches and taught in homes, her story is unforgettable. But for most of history, it's remained a tale of faith and mystery, something people believed in but couldn't prove. That changed recently. In the dry, hot land near the Dead Sea, one of the lowest and saltiest places on Earth, archaeologists made a discovery that shocked everyone. Right there in the desert, they found what appears to be a tall salt pillar. But this wasn't just any rock or odd shape in the earth. It looked like a person, frozen in place, standing silently, as if time had stopped the very moment they turned around. This pillar was found exactly where the Bible describes Lot's wife, turning back to look at the burning cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. For centuries, people thought it was just a story. Now they were staring at something real, something that seemed to match the description perfectly. A human-shaped column made of crystallized salt, weathered by time, yet standing firm. Not something carved by human hands, not something dropped there by chance. It was simply there, untouched, as if waiting to be found. This discovery goes beyond history or archaeology. It touches something deeper. It brings an ancient moment back to life, inviting us to think about what it meant and what it still means. Before we continue with this incredible journey, I want to ask you something. If you believe that truth and faith are worth exploring, that history and the supernatural might be more connected than we think, then please consider subscribing. It helps us keep sharing these amazing findings with people like you. Now, let's go back to that moment in time when everything changed with one simple glance. Long ago, the region near the southern Dead Sea wasn't a dry wasteland like it is now. It was green and full of life. Rivers flowed, the ground was rich, and cities thrived. Among those cities were Sodom and Gomorrah, names that have become symbols of deep corruption and evil. According to the Bible, their people had become so immoral that God decided to bring justice. He would destroy them completely. But there was one man in Sodom who still followed God, Lot. Because of him, angels were sent to warn his family. The message was clear: get out, don't look back, run and don't stop. So Lot, his wife, and their daughters fled toward the mountains. But something happened as they escaped. Lot's wife, unable to let go of the life she was leaving behind, turned to look. In that very moment, something extraordinary occurred. She changed. Her body, her spirit, everything turned to salt. She became a frozen figure caught between the past and the future. People have told that story for centuries, but now, thanks to this recent discovery, it feels more real than ever. The archaeologists who found the pillar had no idea what they were about to stumble upon. They were working near Mount Sodom, a giant hill made almost entirely of salt. The mountain's rough, sun-beaten slopes had seen countless years go by, and time seemed to stand still there. Then they saw it, a tall, thin shape standing on a ridge. It didn't look like a natural formation, it looked like a person. You could see the curve of shoulders, the suggestion of a head, and the way the robe seemed to flow down. It was rough and weathered, but clearly shaped. They studied it, took samples and ran tests. What they found was shocking. The pillar was made almost entirely of crystallized salt, fused with rare minerals found deep in the mountain. This was no accident of erosion. It had been standing in that exact spot for thousands of years. And where was it? Exactly where many believe Sodom once stood, facing the valley, just like the Bible says. Soon word spread. Pilgrims began arriving from all over the world. Some stood in silence, moved to tears. Others fell to their knees, overwhelmed by what they were seeing. For many, it wasn't just a rock, it was confirmation. A sign. Of course, not everyone agreed. Some scientists said it might still be a strange natural formation, but even skeptics had to admit that it was almost impossible for something like this to form by chance in the exact location the ancient texts describe. Religious leaders were stunned. Biblical scholars took a second look at old beliefs. Scientists dug deeper into their research, and something started to stir in the hearts of believers everywhere. For the first time, they could touch what they had always believed. Standing in front of the pillar, one thing becomes clear: This isn't just salt, it's a message. A frozen warning, a quiet voice whispering to anyone who will listen. Trust God and don't look back. Lot's wife didn't become salt just because she disobeyed. Her story is more than punishment. It's a reminder of what can happen when we hesitate, when we look back instead of moving forward. Her story is about the danger of being too attached to the past, even when God is pulling us into something new. Now her story is no longer just in the Bible. It's written in stone in the heart of a burning valley, a message from ancient times that still speaks today. We often think of Lot's wife and judge her for her mistake. But if we're honest, we've all done the same thing. We've all looked back. We've all hesitated when we should have kept moving. Whether it was a toxic relationship, a bad habit, or a place we knew we had to leave, sometimes we turn around. Sometimes we're afraid to let go. Lot's wife wasn't evil. She was human, just like us. Her final moment was full of emotion, fear, sadness, confusion. But it reminds us that when God says go, we have to go, even if we're scared, even if it hurts. That pillar in the desert, it's not just a monument, it's a mirror. It asks us where we're looking. Are we clinging to the past, or are we moving toward the future God has for us? Since the pillar was found, something powerful has been happening in that place. People aren't just coming to take pictures, they're coming to pray, to confess, to change. The desert, once lifeless, has become like a church. People sing there. Some have been baptized near the water. Testimonies are shared every week. One man who had never believed in God stood before the pillar and began to cry uncontrollably. Through his tears, he said, "She's real. It's all real." That day, he gave his life to Christ. These aren't just tourists. These are transformations. Maybe that's the real purpose of this discovery. Not just to prove something happened long ago, but to awaken something in people right now. What's next? Scientists will keep studying, debates will continue. But for many, the conclusion has already arrived. This is her, Lot's wife, a quiet figure who speaks volumes without saying a word. She reminds us that God's warnings aren't cruel. They are filled with love. They're meant to guide us and protect us. She tells us that the road ahead, even when uncertain, is better than the past that holds us back. And she calls to us gently but clearly. Don't turn around. You may not be fleeing a city like Sodom. There may not be fire falling from the sky. But you are still on a journey. You've been asked to leave behind pain, fear, bitterness, or comfort that no longer serves you. Maybe you've looked back. Maybe you've been tempted to return to the familiar. But now you've seen the sign, that pillar, that figure standing alone, unchanged by time. Let it stir something inside you. Let it be the wake-up call you were waiting for. God is calling you forward. Keep walking. If this story touched your heart, if it made you think or feel something deep inside, please share it. Share the discovery, not just of what lies in the desert, but of what may lie within each of us.